Well, hi there. Tonight I wanted to talk about the Ottawa Senators and their business with the Uber driver. I've never ridden in an Uber before. Hardly know the concept. I really don't care. There is good reason for them having cameras in their vehicles. I mean, there are a lot of patrons that simply are problematic and, you can't trust them from the Uber driver's perspective. But these guys were the Ottawa Senators. A few of the young players, I hardly even know the team anymore. Matt Duchene was there, and it was a news story where they were saying, oh, they were trash talking the team, they're trash talking the coaches because the Ottawa Senators aren't doing particularly well right now. The issue is not that they were trash talking. I mean, they hardly said anything. I'm sure the video was longer than what was, on YouTube. It's more how propaganda is assembled and how stupid it looks. Like, it really, like, nobody cares what those punks on the Ottawa Senators said about their own team. I watched a quick podcast of Brian Burke talking about it, and he said that's part of the routine, and it is for young people to trash talk people who make things harder for them, even if they're trying to make them more successful as whatever profession they're doing. For example, in the National Hockey League, trying to help them win a Stanley Cup and things like that. It's not an easy league to win a Stanley Cup in. And they didn't really say too much. I mean, even if they had started like swearing and this, that, and the other, that would be another thing. The more prominent problem with that sort of thing is that there are people who walk around with cameras, and in an Uber you can expect it, but there are a lot of places where you can't expect it. You're not going to see somebody flicking around with their camera. And I mean, cell phones are kind of awkward. I've walked around certain places, mainly downtown, and I've seen people, taking video spin-arounds with their camera, and it's obvious what they're doing, and it's like, it would be tricky, not undoable, to sneak up on someone and film them doing whatever they were doing. I don't know, maybe a plumber and his ass crack is showing through his jeans or something. I don't know. But the thing is any of this shit being enforced? That's the real fucking problem, and the answer is no, because in particular Apple, the iPhones, they sell that shit to the Asians in Hong Kong, and then it gets sold through all the other Western power access Asian countries, and then it makes its way into the mainland Chinese, and lo and behold, you could be there, doing anything, eating an ice cream or a hot dog or anything, and some jackass could be filming you. And they may or may not have malicious intent, but, that is what it is. And all of these phones are Wi-Fi compatible. In fact, most cameras today are Wi-Fi compatible, even if you can't do anything with yours. Like with mine, for example. Mine says Wi-Fi, but it doesn't actually do anything. But I can guarantee you that, a satellite up in space can see, if it wanted to, what was on my camera. There's nothing on it, but that's not the point. And, this is troublesome. And, there are hockey players, I guess, 90s is was a more gritty, entertaining time for hockey. It was coincided with, wrestling and the Attitude Era and everything like that. And it's just like, if those guys had, sophisticated camera equipment on them when they weren't expecting it, not that, that happened, but some of them it most certainly did, and it got covered up, it would be so much worse. And it's not difficult to get in a situation where you're physically compromised. I mean, like, you can be in the best of shape, the best speaker, intelligent person, kind person, and there can be an awkward moment where, I don't know, you're a certain angle you're at, you don't look as handsome as you should be. I would know, I've made a lot of YouTube videos, I know these sort of things. And there are just other times where you blurt out words, everybody does it, and that isn't the exact combination of words you wanted to use, and you look stupid. And I'm not one of these people who, you know, every time he's gonna go have a conversation, that I feel as though I need to, you know, protect my balls for dear life, because I'm afraid if I miss one little word that somebody's gonna take it the wrong way and they're gonna run off with it, and they're gonna be one of these easily offended little pricks and play to to what people want to hear. Like, you know, there are a lot of words out there that are considered bad, and there are no reason why they should be considered bad. However, you know, some people might blurt them out, and, you know, they might not be good words, just swear words, whatever. It's not a big deal. But, you know, what those young guys said in that Uber, whatever. Okay, so it's a story on, you know, on the internet, and it may have been on television real quick. I didn't actually see it there. And, you know, the Uber driver had the right to have a camera in his thing, because, as I said, there are patrons that don't always pay their fare, or, you know, whatever. But they shouldn't have the right to do whatever they want with that footage afterwards. It doesn't matter who gets in their car, because they don't have to be an NHL superstar. They may just say something that is, you know, entertaining or embarrassing to themselves, and the Uber service might use that, not necessarily put on the internet where it could be removed, although I doubt it would be, but, you know, pass it along to whomever. And obviously that's a law that would be, you know, difficult to enforce, but that doesn't mean that it has to be made easy for these people to do that. I mean, you look at it this way: would you enjoy somebody coming along when you're compromised, and everybody's compromised at one point or another? You know, you're not always in a position where, you know, your nice dress suit, you know, you're in a board meeting and you're in command or whatever. It's not always like that. There will be times where you're compromised and you're going, well, what the fuck, man? Is there like some douchebag who's watching me fucking, you know, eat some ice cream or something like that in a fucking restaurant or whatever? Do I have to worry about that all the time? I touched base on this with one of my videos, not relating to hockey, but to, you know, other things. And it's just like, you know, when does the bullshit stop? I mean, because if you got some little annoying twerp running around with a camera and taking videos of other people when they're compromised, if people don't like that guy afterwards, then, you know, they had it coming. And it could be a woman too. They're just as bad with that sort of stuff. They're you know, pictures. The Native Indians used to believe, and still do, and for a reason, that they stole your soul once they took a picture of whatever. And I don't agree with that, but, you know, doesn't matter what picture it is. Somebody could come along and do a Conan O'Brien, put lips on it saying you're saying something else, they can audio edit, so you're talking, it seems as though you're talking about something else, and they've gotten so good at it that, you know, Matt Duchene and those Ottawa Senators, they may have not said anything at all derogatory towards the organization, but they got picked as the poster boys for a stupid story on the National Hockey League. And I mean, it's stories like that that are good in the sense that they challenge people to think, but they're not good in the sense that you go to any place to converse with other hockey players and you're going to get into a fight. It's as simple as that. Somebody's going to come along And they may or may not know what they're doing, but usually I think they know what they're doing and they're just being cunts. And that's, they want to silence you. They don't want you to talk about anything. They certainly don't want you to have an opinion. And they don't have a rebuttal. They usually just revert to insulting. And if it's on the internet, they usually just ban you. And it's like, you didn't prove your point. You don't sound intelligent. And why the fuck am I even wasting my time talking to you in the first place if you don't actually have, you know, a proper retort to the statement, whatever it is that I make? And, yeah, getting back to the Ottawa Senators, I don't give a crap what they said. I mean, ideally they shouldn't trash their team so bad, although, you know, in the grand scheme of things, there have been a lot of other teams that have done a lot worse over the years. I don't know if this is, you know, part of the NHL campaign of starting fresh or whatever, but, you know, it's played down so stupid that, you know, it's nauseating. And, you know, there was a lot of interesting conversation that most certainly used to happen, that doesn't happen anymore, unless you're in a select group of assholes that, you know, don't talk about things outside of your select group of assholes. That is a thing. Yeah, it's an irritating thing. Like, I've never liked iPhones. I don't like downloadable music. I mean, it's convenient to watch YouTube videos and, you know, watch the music video, but they can make DVDs with, you know, the best hits of music stars and things like that. Or even, you know, ones that you pre-order and they assemble it for you in a regular package. I mean, like music videos or things like that. DVDs, really big into them, but, you know, this is sailing off topic here. Yeah, like, they picked up a lot of shade for saying what they said in the Uber, but it's like, when do these guys get to unwind? When do they get to relax? They have to work very hard, even if they're not a successful team, to be at the NHL level. When is it cool down time? When can they be carefree and not worry about things? Or be concerned and, you know, do all those things and not be stupid at the same time. In the sense that you can be stupid, but you don't have to worry about somebody seeing you be stupid. Not because you're up to anything, but because people are cunts and they like to construe things that just aren't true, and they like to make up nasty stories. We all know about how horrible paparazzis are. Like, seriously, I guess Stalin missed a few of them. Yeah, I shouldn't feel, you know, good about that, but if you want to know the truth, I do. Yeah, that's not a nice thing to say, but there are a lot of people out there that aren't nice, so, you know, fuck you if you don't like my opinion. Yeah, well, what else is there to say? It's, you know, it's food for thought, but there's not much substance to that story. And what Brian Burke said, going, oh, that Uber driver was a scumbag, maybe he was, but, you know, in the grand scheme of things, there have been a lot worse people who have been paparazzis and just, you know, genuinely disgusting, loathsome creatures that, how they ever got the name of being part of the human race, I have no clue. So low down and dirty. However, you know, not all paparazzis are bad. Although offhand you would think most of them are. Yeah, and for the ability to have a bunch of schmucks running around with camera equipment in plain sight, I mean, I can see the advantages to it. I made a video saying where I I was, just pretending to take my phone out when I thought I was going to get run over by this car, and it was enough to make them flip out. And in that instance, yes, it is good. But with some of these newer phones and the fact that there are people out there that want them to have better camera capabilities, it's like, no, you can't walk around with that shit. Who says you're to be trusted? You got $600 in your bank account, you want to spend it on an iPhone or whatever, and it's like, is that enough of a screening process to know you're not going to be a counterfeit to justify you having that capability? I don't think so. And like I said, iPhone, Apple, like, they're not interested in actually stopping people from doing that. They actually promote it because they can sell it overseas. And that, it's more stress, more inconvenience, more of a problem for today's National Hockey League players. I mean, there are all kinds of awkward moments, as I was saying. Like, you could have an itch on your nose or something like that, or you're in an awkward position or something like that, or anything. And you'll have somebody potentially sticking a camera in your face because you're worth millions of dollars. And that is how sad and pathetic most paparazzi are. And make no mistake, that Uber driver, in doing what he did, that made him a paparazzi. A low-key paparazzi, not very good at what he did, but a paparazzi nonetheless. And, they are scumbags. Brian Burke is right about that. And this is kind of, a more palatable way to tell it. But the problem is, he's told it so palatable, he's protecting his players, in the National Hockey League, better than he is, in the everyday citizen. The everyday citizen never knows if somebody took a picture of them when they're in a compromised position. Like, it's going to take a lot of courage for me to eat a banana out in public. I mean, I like bananas. There's nothing wrong with bananas. But, I have to take that into consideration now that when I have a banana that I, have to be more careful about how I eat it. And it's like, whatever. But, other people will want to think what they want to think. And that makes them twats. Absolute fucking twats. So the moral of the story is, there's a bunch of fucked up things with the world, and they really ought to be different, but they're not because of the greed of people who are despicable and have the means and capability of being loathsome and disreputable. And that particular scene with the Ottawa Senators, so many things could have gone on, and we can only speculate here in the peanut gallery. Anyway, I don't have anything further to add to that, so I will talk to you guys later. Have a good one.